Hey guys, this is David from OurBetterLifeProject.com. I'm coming to you today with a quick review of the 4-Hour Workweek. I don't do my reviews, or I don't plan on doing my reviews like the normal review. I want to do it something more like not on a star rating. It's on the amount of lessons learned, and I just want to drop a few golden nuggets from the book, and you can kind of decide if it'll be something that you actually want to go out, purchase, look at, and stuff like that. So without further ado, just a little background on the book. The book was written by Timothy Ferriss. It's a good book. He basically goes over how he turned his business from a life-consuming, multi-million-dollar business where he didn't have time to enjoy his money or anything like that, to a automated business that basically freed him up to do whatever he liked, including writing the 4-Hour Work Week. So the whole book is based on like four main parts, which is the acronym spells out DEAL. So the DEAL stands for definition or define your dreams. E is elimination. A is automation, and L is liberate. So I'll go into some of the golden nuggets I grabbed from the book, and you'll kind of get an idea of what those mean. But if you really want to figure it out, you're gonna have to go check out the book for yourself. It's worth the read, worth every penny. So the first golden nugget I got out of the book is money is great, but it's not everything. This is something that a lot of us fail to realize is like, when I get the money, I can do this. Like, when I get the money, I can do this. When I get the money, I can do this. Is if you have a bunch of money and you don't have time, you can't do nothing. So basically, money isn't the only valuable currency. The second one is going to be start always with the end in mind. You probably heard this before. A lot of you probably have already read the book, or heard of the book, or seen Tim Ferriss somewhere else. But if you don't start with the end in mind, you're going to get stuck into a loop that you don't really want to be in. The next one is define your dream life. Defining exactly what you want to do, whatever it is. So if you want to be, fluent in Japanese, you need to figure out the best way of attacking it, right? And the easiest way to do that is to find exactly where you want to be, and then take the steps to get there. So if you were learning Japanese, for example, you would want to learn kanji, hiragana, katakana, all the other stuff. He goes over that stuff. He actually did learn Japanese, so it's part of his story. Nothing is completely irreversible is another thing. This held true in my life. I actually quit the cell phone industry and went back into it. I was really nervous about quitting it, but after reading the book, I actually read the book, and I kind of had that thought in my mind, and I watched some of the videos that Tim talked about on YouTube, and that's kind of what helped me get out into the industries I was afraid to join, because I didn't know if I could get back in. As he says, nothing is completely irreversible, whether it's getting back into the same company or a nearby company, or a company like that's essentially the same. It's just a different owner. But yeah, so that's a gold nugget there. Always define the worst case scenario. So usually when you define the worst case scenario, especially if you live well below your means, it's really not that scary once you figure it out. Like when I defined my worst case scenario for leaving the cell phone industry was I go back to work at McDonald's. And, in some cases I was working jobs that were more prestigious, but I was getting paid the same as McDonald's workers. So I thought about that as like, I can always just go back to, square one, go back to doing the most simplest jobs, and I'll still have enough money to survive because I live a minimalist lifestyle. Okay, so this one kind of ties in with this one. It's with the last one. It's eliminate unnecessary activities, objects, employees, pretty much anything that is unnecessary. Get it out of your life. Now, living minimalist kind of allows for this, so you get rid of all like unnecessary things. For me, I live in Tacoma, so a car is somewhat necessary to get to work. If you lived in Seattle, you wouldn't need one, right? So unnecessary clothing, I get rid of clothing pretty regularly that I don't need. I like to like hoodie and jeans, and simple things like that. I always have like one or two pairs of work clothes, like dress clothes, and I try not to overdo things. Although I do like to have a supple amount of everything to make my life simple. So the way I look at it is, I eliminate unnecessary actions. I eliminate unnecessary items. Um, to me, my definition of necessary is a little bit going to be different than everybody's, right? Some people don't think they need 10 chargers, but I think I need 10 cell phone chargers because I don't want to sit around packing stuff every day. So for me, it's necessity. If I have an extra one laying around, it's gone. It's that simple. Okay, so um, practice the art of unfinishing. Practicing the art of unfinishing, something I'm getting better at, but I still trying to get it completely um, digested and like into my life. So, if you're eating something and you have like 5 bites left on the plate, don't eat it. That's the idea. You don't need those 5 bites, right? You don't need to finish unnecessary tasks, right? So if you're, you know, putting stuff on your calendar that you already remember, um, stop that. Just stop it and go do something that's the highest impact item of your day. Do your number one priority first. Okay, so the 80-20 rule. This is the way to kind of figure out what's unnecessary, what you don't need to finish. Is the 80-20 rule. It's a really important rule. There's books on it. Richard Koch has one. I've actually read it. Tim talks about it in the book. It's basically 20% of actions create 80% of results, and vice versa. 80% of results are caused by 20% of actions. Um, if you think about it, pretty much anything in life can be judged by the 80-20 rule, right? So if you go to a pizza restaurant's about 20% of the menu brings in 80% of the profits. So that's kind of the idea. You can read more about it in the book as well as Richard Koch's 80-20 uh, law book. It's pretty good. Automate everything. This is another important one. Automating everything is something I've been working on a lot. So to start with, automating finance. A lot of people talk about this passive income. It's something that you really should be doing. It's not as easy as it sounds, but the point of automating is to build a system um, so that you don't have to work later on. So basically, you do have to put in the work. It's there's work involved. The whole idea is not to work, not to just eliminate work. It's to get to the point where you don't have to do it anymore. Okay, so the next one is delegate tasks. This is part of automating. Automating things. Like for me, I have a Kindle side business, which I'm going to do a review on the program where I learned to do this. I have what's called a virtual assistant who actually I delegate tasks to. On top of that, I delegate tasks to writers and graphic artists to do things for me, right? So I don't always have to do everything. It's delegating tasks to save my time, which to me is worth more money than actually sitting down, writing some of my books that I publish. And yeah, it saves time, makes me money. There's no reason not to do it because basically all I do is tell them what to do. They do all the work. I reap the most of the benefits for it. So I'll go over that in a different video, but you can also learn a lot about it in the 4-hour work week. And to trust people. Give your employees, your family a little bit of power when you are outside of the area. So if you go on a trip somewhere, giving your sister some power to, like the power of attorney, so she can pay your bills when you send her money, and then just pay her for it. Give her a little bit of the cut, and she'll do a good job. You won't have to think about it. You lose a lot of stress. If you have an employee like on a call center, one example from the book is actually he gives his employees the power to make a decision for him up to $400. So when he did that, he figured out that the expenses actually were less than when he was constantly doing it himself, because they made good decisions. They didn't always just hand out $400 to every upset customer, but they did make sure that the customers were happy, which is a big thing. So yeah, that's the gist of what I got. There's a little bit more on my blog, on my website, www.ourbetterlifeproject.com. Check it out. I'll have a link below. But yeah, until next time, that's just a small review. Oh, and one more thing, I'll leave you with an example of how I put some of this stuff into action. When I first read it about 2 years ago, I was working at a pizza place as a manager. It wasn't a glorious job, but I was going to school full time, and the way I kind of worked it into being a manager, since I was getting paid per hour, my time wasn't really worth that much. Um, but I thought about it in a way to like as a way to like rework my time, because I was kind of doing bad in school because I wasn't having a lot of time to study because I was working uh, like 25 to 30 hours a week. So I basically talked to my manager and gave him an ultimatum: either I quit or you put me on for Saturday and Sunday, open to close. So that way I was getting about 25 to 30 hours per week still, working 2 days a week. Yeah, they were exhausting, but it left my whole 5 days open to where I could do whatever I wanted. And I got enough money to pay my rent while I was going through school. And it worked out great. So, I mean, no matter where you are in life, there's always a way to like this book just always has something for everybody. So go pick it up. I've got a link and my blog. I'm also going to have it on YouTube. Go pick it up. It's a great book. You don't have to use my link. I don't really care if you do either way. All I care is that you go read it. It's worth more than the book costs, and you could probably find it through Tim's blog. There's a lot of free stuff on there. So that's I'll put a link for that too. It's a 4-hour work week blog. If you just Google that. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.